There are 4 simple things you can do as a woman that will make any man completely open up in front of you. And I'd be willing to bet you're not doing a single one of them. In fact, you're probably doing the complete opposite right now. And that's exactly why he's not opening up, why he's not coming toward you, and why you're still waiting for that deep emotional connection you actually want. Here's the wild part. These 4 gestures are so simple and so natural that when I tell you what they are, you're going to think I'm making it up. You're going to think there's no way something that basic can actually shift how a man feels. But that's exactly the reason they work so well, because almost no woman out there is actually doing them. Today, I'm going to walk you through all 4 of these feminine gestures that bring a man's walls crashing down. I'm going to show you why they work on a deep emotional level, how to know when they're actually getting to him, and most importantly, how to do them in a way that feels completely real and natural, not forced or fake. But before we get into any of that, if you're getting something out of this, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything that's going to help you understand men better and build the kind of relationship you actually want in your life. And real quick, I want you to drop a comment right now and tell me what city and country you're watching from. Also, be honest with me. Do you believe a few small gestures can genuinely change how a man feels about you? Or do you think it takes more than that? Tell me what you think, because it helps me understand where you're coming from and how I can actually help you better. Here's the biggest mistake most women make when it comes to men. They think that showing more love and more attention is what gets a man to open up. When you like someone and you want to feel closer to him, what do? You probably show him how much you care. You text him more. You ask how his day went. You try to be there for him whenever he needs you. You compliment him. You make yourself available at all hours. You think that if you just give him enough warmth and enough attention, he'll naturally give you that same energy back. But here's what's actually happening inside his head when you do all of that. His nervous system doesn't read it as love. It reads it as pressure. It reads it as expectation. It reads it as someone who needs something from him. And what does every man do the moment he feels pressure? He pulls away. He goes distant. He gets quiet. And there you are, completely confused, thinking you were so sweet to him. You gave him so much. So why is he suddenly cold? This is not your fault at all, by the way. Nobody teaches women how men actually process emotions. We're raised being told that men want a woman who's caring and sweet and always available. But that's not what makes a man feel something real for you. That's not what makes him want to be around you all the time. A man's emotional wiring is completely different from yours. Where you build closeness through talking and sharing feelings and being near each other, he builds closeness through something entirely different. Men are built through thousands of years of deep wiring to respond to very specific signals from women. Not words, not gestures that scream, "I like you, please like me back," but quiet, specific signals that trigger something ancient inside him, something that tells him, this woman is different. This woman understands something. I feel something around her I don't feel anywhere else. And when those signals fire off inside his mind, he can't stop it. His walls start coming down. He starts moving toward you. He starts showing up differently. He becomes softer with you without even knowing why it's happening. That's exactly what we're getting into today. The 4 gestures that flip that switch inside him. And once you understand them, you'll immediately see why the men who ignore most women end up completely drawn to the few women who actually carry themselves this way. So let's get into it. The first gesture is what I call the unbothered pause. And this one is probably the hardest for most women because it genuinely feels wrong at first. Here's what it is. When he says something or does something that would normally make you want to react right away, want to respond, want to explain or fix or chase, you pause. You don't jump in. You don't rush to fill the silence. You just let the moment breathe for 2 or 3 seconds. That's it. Just 2 or 3 seconds where you don't do anything except exist in that space without trying to control it. I'm not talking about ignoring him or playing cold games. I'm talking about 2 or 3 seconds before you respond. That's all. Why does this work so powerfully? Because men are completely used to women reacting immediately. If he takes 4 hours to reply to a message, you probably send another one. Or you're sitting there staring at your phone trying to figure out what you did wrong. When he says something that stings, you respond right away to defend yourself or make him understand. When he pulls back a little, you move toward him harder. But when you pause, when you don't react the way every other woman in his life does, something shifts in his brain. He wakes up. He starts asking himself, why didn't she respond yet? Is she okay? Did I do something wrong? Is someone else getting her attention? That small moment of uncertainty pulls his focus toward you in a way it wasn't before. And this is not about playing hard to get. This is about training yourself not to be so reactive. When you're unbothered, when you're not jumping at every single thing he does, it sends him a message that goes deep. It says, I don't need you to feel complete. I don't need your approval to feel good about myself. I'm fine either way. And that is what makes a man lean in. Men don't chase women they feel they've already won. They chase women who seem like they just might slip away. The unbothered pause creates exactly that small amount of space that makes him start working for your attention instead of just taking it for granted. This leads right into the second gesture, and this is where most women completely fall apart: the soft boundary. You think that setting a boundary with a man is going to push him away or make him angry or make him lose interest. So you don't do it. You let things slide that bother you. You accept behavior that doesn't feel right because you're scared that the moment you say something, he'll walk. But here's what nobody tells you. When you don't have boundaries, when you let a man get away with whatever he wants without any pushback at all, he doesn't respect you more for it. He respects you less. And when a man doesn't respect you, he doesn't open up to you. He doesn't soften toward you. He just takes and takes until there's nothing left to take. A soft boundary doesn't sound harsh or cold or demanding. It doesn't sound like an ultimatum. It sounds more like, hey, I don't really like when that happens. I need it to go differently. And then you stop talking. You don't explain yourself for 10 minutes. You don't justify your feelings or apologize for having them. You just say it once, calmly and clearly, and then you let him sit with it. And here's what happens next. Most men will test it. They'll push a little to see if you really meant what you said or if it was just words. This is the critical moment. If you set that boundary and then let him cross it 5 minutes later without any consequence, you just showed him your words mean nothing. But if you hold it, if you calmly stand behind what you said without getting dramatic or emotional about it, he starts seeing you in a completely different way. He sees a woman who knows what she's worth, a woman who isn't desperate, a woman who has real standards. And that makes him want to rise up and actually meet those standards. It makes him put in more effort to keep you around. Men don't value what comes easily. They value what they have to earn. The soft boundary tells him very clearly that you are not someone who will accept just anything to keep a man close. And that, more than almost anything else, earns his respect. And real emotional connection always starts with respect. Now here's where things get really interesting. Because the third gesture is what takes everything to a completely different level. After you've been unbothered, after you've set a boundary, after you've shown him you're not like the women who chase and bend and accept anything just to keep him around, you do something that completely catches him off guard. You show him softness. But not the kind of softness he's used to seeing. Not people-pleasing softness. Not trying to make him happy softness. I'm talking about real, genuine softness that comes from a place of strength, not from a place of need. I call this the unexpected softness, and it genuinely messes with a man's head in the best possible way. Here's what it can look like in real life. Maybe he's had a rough day and he's being a bit distant or quiet. Instead of making it about yourself like you normally might, instead of asking him a dozen questions or trying to fix it for him, you just reach over and touch his arm for a second. Or you look at him and say something quiet like, "I can tell today was a lot. I'm here if you need me." And then you leave it alone. You don't push, you don't follow up, you don't try to pull the story out of him. You just offer that moment and let it sit. Or maybe he shares something real with you, something vulnerable. Instead of jumping in with advice or relating it back to your own experience, you just look at him and say, "Thank you for telling me that." That's the whole thing. No big moment, no reaction, no drama, just quiet acknowledgement. And that wrecks him in the best way. Because most women are either too available all the time or too guarded all the time. They're either chasing and being overly sweet, or they're playing it cold to protect themselves. But you're doing neither. You're showing him that you can have your own standards and still be genuinely warm when it actually matters. And that combination is absolutely magnetic. When he sees that you can stand your ground, but also offer real softness in real moments, something clicks in his mind. He registers you as rare, as someone he can't afford to lose. The unexpected softness shows him that your strength isn't about games. It's about creating a space where something real can actually happen between two people. And that brings us to the fourth gesture. This one seals the deal with almost every man, and it's also the most misunderstood one of all. I call it the pleased silence. Most women feel like they need to fill every quiet moment with conversation, with questions, with something. You're worried that if it gets quiet, he'll get bored or lose interest or think something's wrong. So you talk. You ask things. You fill the space with noise. But what you might not realize is that all that filling is actually pushing him away. It's creating pressure. It's making him feel like he has to perform, like he has to keep you entertained, like he can never just relax and be himself around you. The pleased silence is something completely different. It's when you're together and things go quiet, and instead of panicking and jumping in to say something, you just smile softly. You look content. You look like you're genuinely happy just being where you are. Not needing anything, not waiting for something. Maybe you're sitting next to each other watching something, or you're in the car, or you're just spending time together and it gets quiet. And instead of getting uncomfortable, you breathe. You relax your shoulders. You might glance over at him with a soft look and then naturally look away again. You're not staring at him waiting for him to say something. You're not fidgeting or reaching for your phone because the silence is making you nervous. You're just there, present, content, happy to be in his company without needing constant noise to prove it. This does something incredible to a man. When you're comfortable in silence with him, when you don't need him to fill every moment with energy or attention, it tells something deep inside him that you're safe, that you're secure, that you're not constantly seeking reassurance. And that makes him relax in a way he rarely gets to relax around women. Most women make men feel like they're being watched and evaluated every single second. But you make him feel like he can just exist. He can be quiet. He can think his own thoughts. He can breathe without performing. And that feeling is so uncommon, so valuable to men, that when they find a woman who gives them that, they hold on tight. The pleased silence shows him you're secure enough in yourself and in what's building between you that you don't need constant proof. You're just genuinely happy being there. And that happiness doesn't depend on him doing or saying anything. It just is. When a man feels that from a woman, when he feels like he can finally drop the act and just be real, that's when his walls come all the way down. That's when he becomes softer with you in ways you've never seen from him before. Now here's why all four of these gestures work so powerfully together, and this is the part you really want to pay attention to. When you use the unbothered pause, you're activating something in his brain around variable reward. It works the same way that makes certain habits hard to break. When he doesn't get your attention and reaction every single time automatically, his brain starts paying closer attention to when he does get it. He starts valuing it more. He starts working for it. When you set soft boundaries, you trigger his natural drive to pursue something that has real standards. Men are built to chase challenges. When he sees that you're not going to accept anything just to keep him around, you become something genuinely worth pursuing. His brain lights up, the same way it does when he's working toward a real goal. When you show unexpected softness after being strong, you're showing him you're a full, complex human being. You're not playing a role. You're not a character he can figure out in 5 minutes. And depth is attractive. It keeps him curious. It makes him want to know more of you, see more sides of you, understand what makes you who you are. And when you offer pleased silence, you give his body and his mind a chance to actually rest around you. He doesn't feel pressure. He doesn't feel like he's being graded. His whole system calms down. He starts associating being around you with feeling good, feeling calm, feeling like himself. And here's what matters most about all of this. These are not tricks. These are not manipulation tactics. These are real feminine qualities that come from a place of genuine self-respect and a real understanding of how human connection actually works. When you do these things authentically, you're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're just learning to show up in a way that creates space for him to actually feel safe enough to open up. So how do you know when it's actually working on him? His body will show you before his words ever do. There are specific signs that he's softening, that something real is shifting in how he sees you, and you cannot fake these signs. They're completely involuntary. The first thing you'll notice is that he starts reaching out first. He's the one texting you. He's the one making plans. He's putting in the effort because he's suddenly aware that your attention isn't guaranteed and he doesn't want to lose it. Second, his voice changes when he talks to you. It gets quieter, less guarded. Men usually carry this layer of performance in how they speak, always projecting something. But when he softens, that layer drops. He talks to you the way he talks to himself inside his own head. Third, he starts telling you things he doesn't tell other people. He mentions his worries, his dreams, the random things that cross his mind. He starts letting you into his internal world because something about you makes him feel like it's safe to do that. Fourth, His whole body shifts when you're around. He leans toward you. He finds small reasons to make physical contact. His posture opens up. His face relaxes. He looks at you longer and with something different in his eyes, like he's actually seeing you. Fifth, he starts talking about the future with you in it. Next week, next month, things you'll do together. He's thinking ahead and he's including you without even being asked to. Sixth, he gets a little protective when other men are around, but he tries to play it cool. You'll catch it in how he watches, in the questions he asks later, in the subtle way he positions himself near you. This isn't about unhealthy jealousy. It's about someone who is genuinely invested and doesn't want to lose what he's found in you. And finally, he starts saying things out loud that most men keep completely locked away. Simple things like, "I was thinking about you today," or "I really like spending time with you." Not big dramatic confessions, just quiet, honest moments where the truth slips out because he's not guarding himself around you anymore. He doesn't feel like showing you how he feels makes him look weak. Around you, it just feels natural. Now, the most important thing, and I mean the most important thing, is how you actually make these gestures feel real and not like a performance. Because if you go into this thinking you're using techniques to get a specific outcome from him, it won't work. He will feel it. Men can sense when something is off, even when they can't explain why. So here's how you make it authentic. The unbothered pause only works if you're genuinely okay with or without him. If you're pausing but internally panicking and staring at your phone, he'll feel that energy underneath everything. But if you pause because you actually have a full life, real things that matter to you, real sources of joy that have nothing to do with him, that's when it becomes magnetic. You're not performing independence, you're actually living it. Your boundaries have to come from what you genuinely need and want, not from a strategy. Don't set random rules just to test him. Set limits around things that actually affect your peace and your respect and your happiness. When your boundaries are rooted in real self-care, they carry weight. He can feel the difference between a woman who's running a tactic and a woman who genuinely knows her own worth. Your softness has to be something you actually feel in that moment. Don't perform warmth when you're actually hurt or angry or disconnected from him. That's hollow and he'll sense it immediately. But when you genuinely feel something warm toward him, when you look at him and real care rises up inside you, that's when you let it show. Real softness comes from real feeling, and your pleased silence has to come from actually being comfortable in your own company. If you're sitting quietly next to him, but your mind is racing and your body is tense, he'll feel the anxiety sitting right there between you. But if you've built a real relationship with your own inner quiet, if you've learned to be at ease in stillness, that's when the silence becomes something he wants to stay inside of with you. The truth underneath all of this is that these gestures are not really about him at all. They're about who you are becoming. They're about becoming the kind of woman who doesn't need someone else's approval to feel whole. A woman who has real standards, not because she read them somewhere, but because she genuinely knows what she deserves. A woman who can be soft not because she's weak, but because she's strong enough to let people in. A woman who's comfortable in silence, not because she's playing it cool, but because she's actually at peace with who she is. And when you become that woman, something changes everywhere in your life, not just with one man, all of them, because you're carrying yourself differently. You stop chasing. You stop making yourself smaller. You stop bending yourself into what you think someone wants. You just show up as yourself, solid and real and clear about what you're bringing to the table. And that energy is so rare that men can't help but respond to it. The ones who aren't right for you start naturally falling away because they know they can't take advantage of someone who actually knows herself. And the ones who are right for you start stepping up, showing you real effort, real care, real respect. You stop wondering if he's into you because his actions make it obvious. You stop doing the chasing because he's the one doing it now. You stop selling yourself because he already sees exactly what you're worth. So the next time you're with someone you care about, remember what actually creates that shift in him. It's not your constant availability. It's not your endless accommodating. It's not you shrinking yourself or hiding parts of yourself to seem easier to be around. It's you showing up as a woman who respects herself enough to pause before reacting, to set real boundaries, to offer genuine warmth from a place of strength, and to sit in silence without needing to fill it with proof that you're enough. That's what makes a man melt. That's what makes him open up. That's what makes him yours. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 4 gestures is going to be the hardest one for you to actually practice? Is it the unbothered pause because you're used to reacting immediately? Is it the soft boundary because you're scared he'll leave if you speak up? Is it the unexpected softness because you've built walls and you're not sure how to lower them? Or is it the pleased silence because quiet moments still make you anxious? Drop a comment right now and tell me which one you're starting with. And if you're serious about actually doing this work, type "I'm becoming her" in the comments so I know you're committed. If this gave you a new way of thinking about connection, go ahead and like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something real here. A community of women who are choosing to show up with self-respect, with authenticity, with real standards.